Hello, and welcome to this presentation on the research process. The research process is a systematic way to complete your research paper assignments. I hope that you will find that it can really help decrease your anxiety about your assignments and make you more successful in school, work, and life. In the comments section below, you'll find a copy of the notes pages for this presentation, which you can download and print out in case you want to take notes. You'll also find a quiz that you can take at the end of the lesson to reinforce what you've learned. Let's get started. The goals of this lesson are 1. To understand research as a process. 2. To state how the research process can help you. 3. To identify or name the steps in the research process. 4. To arrange the steps in order. At the end of this video, once again, you can access the link in the comments below to a quick self-grading quiz. Along with the notes you take, it will help reinforce what you learned here today. First of all, what is the research process? We said it was a systematic way to complete your research paper assignment. What does that mean? What it really means is that the research process is a series of steps that you can take to make your research paper assignment much easier to complete. Hopefully, the process will not only decrease your anxiety, but also result in a much better paper. We all know that getting a research paper assignment in any class can be stressful from the moment we read in the syllabus on the first day of class that it's coming. These assignments can often make us anxious and feel overwhelmed. They can make us feel unprepared for the complexity of the work and uncertain of our abilities to handle such a seemingly huge assignment. That is where the research process can help. The process breaks the research paper assignment down into a series of steps. Knowing the steps and taking one step at a time can make the whole project less frightening or intimidating and much easier to accomplish. It's also important to know that you can move forward and backward between the steps if you find that there aren't enough sources and you need to change your topic, if you're writing and you find you need more sources, or if you discover a piece of information that changes your topic, among other things, you can always return to a previous step and work through it again. So, what are the steps of the research process? Take a note of them so that you can remember them better. First, you'll need to read and understand your assignment. What exactly is it that your professor or teacher wants you to do? Second, you need to explore topics and narrow down your topic to fit the requirements of your assignment. Shorter papers will need more focused topics, while longer papers can cover broader topics. Next, for step 3, you'll search for, gather, and evaluate sources to find the ones that will work for your project. Fourth, you'll get organized by outlining and then write the first draft of your paper, avoiding plagiarism by citing your sources as you write. Finally, in step 5, you'll revise your work to make it the best it can be. Proofread to minimize errors and publish or submit your paper. In just those 5 steps, you can tackle that research assignment. Let's explore what each step involves in a little more detail. Step 1, understand your assignment. The first step of the research process is to understand exactly what your instructor is asking for. There are a few important things that you will need to look for so that you can plan your project effectively. First, is there an assigned topic? If yes, is it already specific or focused, or will you need to narrow it down? For example, if your topic is something general, like anti-racist education, you have a lot of room to narrow it down. However, if your topic is a little more narrow or specific or focused, like anti-racist teaching strategies, you can get to the next step of the process a bit sooner. If there is no assigned topic, you'll need to take a different approach, which we'll talk about in our next step. The second thing you need to look for in your assignment is how long your required paper should be. The number of pages makes a difference in how general or specific your topic will be. A 3-page paper can be about a more narrow topic, while a 7-page paper can be a bit more broad. Third, what kinds of sources are you required to use? Most instructors require at least some of what we call scholarly sources. Some may specify only scholarly sources, while others may allow a mix of scholarly and popular sources. Finally, what sort of formatting will be required? For an English class, it's usually MLA, for science, APA, and for history, Chicago. Knowing the formatting style required will help you when you start to gather sources, because the online library can generate working citations for you. Understanding the requirements for topic, page length, types of sources, and formatting style you need is an important first step. Let's look at this example of an assignment for an English literature class. Take a close look at the assignment. What is the topic? What is the page count? What sources are allowed? What type of formatting is required? Take a few seconds to see if you can locate these important pieces of information. Did you find them? One thing to notice here is that the instructor doesn't say whether MLA formatting should be used, but since this is an English class assignment, we could assume MLA is probably the style that's required. However, if you're ever unsure about anything in your assignment, you should definitely ask your instructor to clarify. Step 2, explore and narrow your topic. Here's where we really start to think about our topic, whether it is assigned or we are allowed to choose our own. If you have an open topic, you will want to choose something exciting. If you have an assigned topic, maybe there's an aspect of it that interests you more than others. Either way, we can sit down with a pen and a sheet of paper or with a document open on the computer, tablet, or phone and use discovery techniques to narrow down our topic and gather together what we already know about it, our ideas and questions. Techniques that we'll explore in depth later, such as the bubble diagram, free writing, listing, and reporter's questions, can help us find a topic or narrow a topic so that it is manageable or doable for the length of the paper we've been assigned. Let's just explore this a little bit further. Let's say your teacher has assigned an open topic research paper. You can use a bubble diagram to narrow down a topic you're interested in or excited about. For example, maybe you're interested in fashion. Fashion is fascinating, but it's much too broad or big a topic for a 3 to 7 page paper. A bubble diagram can help you find subtopics, especially if you already know something about fashion. Accessing our prior knowledge, we can discover subtopics such as body positive fashion, the industry's supply chain, fashion designers of color, or clothes recycling in fashion. From these options, you could then choose the subtopic that most excites and interests you. Choosing a subtopic will also help you find keywords for the next step in the research process, searching for sources. Now, what if you have a broad idea, like fashion, but you don't know very much about it? You can use an encyclopedia to help you find possible subtopics. We'll learn more about this phase of exploration as we begin actually taking the steps in upcoming weeks. For now, let's look at this example. My school library subscribes to the Grove Art Online Encyclopedia. Here we can see when we search for the keyword or subject heading fashion, many articles appear. Fashion moda, modernism in fashion, postmodernism in fashion, fashion in the environment, fashion and technology, etc. These offer us a host of subtopics to choose from. When we open one of the broader articles on the history of fashion, fashion origins and development, we can continue to read or even just scroll and scan to get a sense of how in-depth the information is and to maybe find a subtopic of interest. You can see here that this topic is very broad, covering the history of fashion from its early days. But if we continue to read and scan through, we can land upon something that might work for us. In this case, the French female designer of the early 20th century, Jeanne Paquin, catches my eye. Her name is a hyperlink, so I can access the article about her just by clicking, find helpful images, see what else the article covers, and even scrolling all the way down, I can find more sources to consult at the very bottom in the bibliography. Voila! I may have a topic of interest for my paper and some potential sources to check out. Step 3 then is to search for, gather, and evaluate sources. Once you have identified a topic of interest and it seems narrow or focused enough for the length of your paper, you can start to look for the actual sources that will be included. The sources are the articles, websites, and books you're going to read to gather information about your topic and that will give you an idea of what you want to say about it. First, go back to your assignment requirements. What kinds of sources will you need and how many again? The library offers many different formats to suit your needs and requirements. Books, reference books such as encyclopedias and dictionaries, scholarly journals and periodicals, and newspapers are available through online search portals or in physical form on library shelves. Some instructors will allow you to use websites on the internet, but you should be careful. .edu and .gov sites are often more trustworthy. Videos can also be a useful resource. Make sure again that the video you select was produced by a reliable entity. Once you have a set of sources, you can read and watch them and take notes. Remember to note the citations, and as you read, evaluate those sources. Ask yourself, will this be useful for my paper? Does it include the information that I need? Okay, so far we have, hopefully, a good understanding of the assignment. Yes, check. Exciting, focused topic? Check. A set of trustworthy sources to guide and support our writing? Check. We are getting ever closer to the finished product. Our next task is to get into the process of actually writing the paper itself. This is step 4, outline, draft, and cite sources. It's hard to just sit down at the computer, open a document, and start writing the introduction, expecting it to flow into the rest of our paper. It's really better to take some time before you sit down there to plan how your paper will be organized. An outline can help. It doesn't have to be fancy or formal unless that's what your assignment requires. It can be rough. You just want to write down your main idea and the points you want to make based on your readings. Your sources then can be placed where they will guide and support your ideas. Once you have an outline, you can begin to draft your paper. Be careful here to avoid plagiarism. Make sure you paraphrase and quote and cite sources in text. Finally, you can also start to build your references page, which will appear at the end of your document. Finally, we have arrived at the final step. We have a draft of our paper. Now we can read it and revise it. When we revise, we look at the contents of our paper to see if it says what we wanted to say. We see if there's anything we need to add, anything we need to take out, any point we need to make more clear, or anything that should be reorganized. Reading the paper out loud can help us see if it flows together. Asking a trusted relative or friend to read it might help us see if there's anything missing or that we should make more clear. When we proofread, we look at the mechanics and grammar of the paper. Are our citations done according to the standard? Are the margins correct? Are the parts of the heading in correct order? Is our title formatted correctly? What about those hanging indents on the references page at the end? Finally, once we've checked all those boxes, we can submit our paper, knowing that because we were guided by the research process, our chances of success are much higher than they would have been without it. Before we go, let's remember the goals of this lesson were to 1. Understand research as a process, 2. State how the research process can help you, 3. Identify the steps in the research process, and 4. Arrange the steps of the process in order. In the comments section below, once again, I put a link to a quiz that you can take and score yourself to reinforce what we've learned in this presentation today. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and leave any feedback or questions in the comments below.